Coming up tonight on YCN News, the results are in from yesterday's Vermont primary for the November 4th general election. New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan comes to Claremont to sign a bill to bring a new bus route to the area. And Unity Elementary School students will get an extended summer vacation. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. The results of yesterday's Vermont primary are in, and the races for the November 4th general election are set. Incumbent Democratic Governor Peter Shumlin will face off against Republican Scott Milne. Republican and current Lieutenant Governor Phil Scott will challenge Progressive Dean Corrin. But first, Shumlin had to defeat H. Brooke Page, a fellow Democrat, for the right to seek a third two-year term as governor. Shumlin did, receiving nearly 78% of votes cast yesterday, compared to Page's 16%. Voter support for Liberty Union candidate for governor Pete Diamondstone also means his name will be on the November ballot. Diamondstone's support from Liberty Union voters reached 89%. On the GOP side, Milne captured 72% of all votes cast, with Steve Barry and Emily Payton closely trailing each other, earning 6.8% and 6.4%, respectively. The results of the Vermont state primary can be viewed online via the Secretary of State's website. Go to sec.state.vt.us. In nearby New Hampshire, people looking for a bus ride up Route 120 can remain hopeful. This morning, New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan came to the library of Claremont's River Valley Community College to sign House Bill 650. This bill aims to institute a bus service that will run between Claremont and Lebanon. City Mayor James Nielsen began the ceremony, followed by State Representative John Cloutier and City Manager Guy Santagate. Governor Hassan then thanked the co-sponsors for their bipartisan effort in bringing the bill forward and brought attention to the importance of the city of Claremont.
Let me let you know, I always know I'm going in the right direction when I come to Claremont, New Hampshire. And you're welcome. This is a remarkable city. It's a remarkable area of our state. The energy here is palpable. It's palpable in part because of the work that President Harvey Smith and River Valley Community College are doing. But again, I think the college reflects the nature of the people here, and when you come together and do great things together, you all just get better and better, and Claremont is vibrant and growing, and we as a state want to be your partner in making sure we're doing everything we can in this part of the state to help it flourish.
After Governor Hassan's remarks, she went forward to sign the bill with the co-sponsors at her side. Applause broke out as the governor smiled at the completion of the ceremony. After the excitement died down, I took the chance to speak with the governor on today's success. How do you feel about today's signing?
Well, I'm so excited to be here to celebrate with Claremont and Lebanon this bill that establishes a bus route between Claremont and Lebanon and allows us to raise federal funds and private money to get it going. We know that in order to strengthen our economy, our workforce has to have transportation to good jobs. We know that there are areas in the Upper Valley that need that workforce, and that River Valley Community College, which is where we are right now, is training up a lot of that workforce. So this is a great way to bring all of those efforts together so that we can strengthen the entire regional economy.
Then, one of the main sponsors of the bill, John Cloutier, met with me and explained some of the next big steps with the bus project now that the bill has been signed. So, what is the next step now that the bill has been signed?
Okay, well, of course, under the provisions of House Bill 650, the state is not going to allocate any money to this bus service between Lebanon and Claremont, but it gives the state's blessing, and it authorizes the New Hampshire DOT to work with us to leverage some federal funds and hopefully help community transportation services, maybe give them advice on how to solicit private and local funds. Although I want to be clear, New Hampshire cannot go out and solicit private funds. They can only help with federal funds. I figure it will take maybe a few years to get the necessary startup costs, which is mainly money for the buses. But that's my intent in that we work together. I'm willing to work with Claremont businesses and institutions like River Valley, where we are today, to try to get rolling. I see a lot of potential, not only for employees, who commute between Claremont and Lebanon, but also River Valley students who, from Claremont and Lebanon to go back and forth. It will require a lot of cooperation between Claremont and Lebanon, also even among communities like Plainfield and Cornish, who are on the Route 120 route, and other adjoining communities. But I'm hoping in 2 to 3 years the buses can roll. And although today is a celebration of actually getting the bill signed into law by Governor Hassan, which I'm most appreciative, and I'm most appreciative of all the Claremont reps who helped me, all the Lebanon reps. The real celebration will be when those buses roll and when I can take a bus from Claremont to Lebanon and vice versa.
It certainly was an exciting day for all, as state reps were happy to see their hard work come together with the governor's approval right in the city of Claremont. YCN will keep you updated as the bus project continues to unfold. Our next story may remind you of what it was like to be a kid and find a quiet spot to read your favorite comic books. There's more to creating a comic book or strip than many may think. Reading, creative thinking, conceptual design all go into comic creation. Let's learn more.
Since 1933, comic books, comic strips, and graphic novels have inspired many popular movies and TV shows. From the Daily Funnies to Batman, comics have been a huge medium in our world.
Comic strips that were featured in the Funnies pages were where many people got interested in comics.
Probably from when I was very young, I started reading Calvin and Hobbes, maybe when I was about 5 years old. It sort of helped me learn how to read in a lot of ways. Really kicked off my obsession with comics in a big way. Got me into other things like Charlie Brown and, Garfield.
Definitely little comic strips. I would read the Garfield compilations and just the comics in the paper.
I think that I read the comic strips in the paper when I was pretty young.
After getting invested in comics through the Funnies, people moved on to comic books and larger graphic novels.
Things like Tintin and the X-Men were big for me also when I was really young.
As I got older, I moved on to graphic novels. One of my favorites is just those big graphic novels. It's nice, it's like reading a book, but somehow it's more relaxing.
When I was younger, I read some of the Bone series and really enjoyed those.
Comics can be an essential part of people's lives. At the Center for Cartoon Studies, or CCS, cartoonists from around the world come to hone their skills and publish their works. Some are freelance artists, while others draw cartoons for a living.
It's helped me in so many ways, especially in technical ways and just knowing how to prepare things to get printed, to get things ready to go. My drawing has improved quite a bit. I'm not a great artist, but it's a pretty big difference.
I've never made a comic longer than maybe 2 pages before I came here, and they taught me how to make a mini comic, like a book, like something people can read, and taught me how to sell them. It's really helped. This is the best place.
Without famous superhero comic books such as Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man, we would not have any of the big Hollywood blockbusters we know and love. Even movies such as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Captain America were based off of comic books.
I think I've read mostly superhero stuff. Marvel 1602, which is a graphic novel, I think it was written by Neil Gaiman, and it's different Marvel characters, but it's as if they were born around colonial times in America.
I really got into Marvel for a while, and I interned for Marvel a few summers ago, and that was really amazing. So I was super into Marvel. My current favorites, if we're talking superhero comics, are actually Batwoman.
Comics are great.
Comic books are inspiring.
Comic books are influential.
Comic books are the best.
Comic books are exciting.
Though many do not realize it, comic books have a huge influence on people's lives. The medium is growing more and more every day. With CATV Video Camp, I'm Jack Spinella.
YCN News thanks Erin McClory and her students for bringing us this story. Stay tuned tomorrow and Friday for more features from the Upper Valley Video Summer Camp program. Meanwhile, 98% of voters statewide supported U.S. Representative Peter Welch's bid for another term in Congress. Welch ran unopposed in the primary, yet there are 3 Republicans who want to represent the state in Washington. Top vote earner is Mark Donka with 34% of all ballots cast yesterday. Donald Russell came in second with 32%, compared to Donald Nolte, who captured 28% of all votes. When YCN News returns, we'll continue with more news.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. About 100 people filled a meeting room last night at the Mount Sunapee Resort in Newbury. Commissioner Jeffrey Rose from the State Department of Resources and Economic Development and Nathan Miller of the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission listened to attendees' comments about a proposed ski expansion. Known as the West Bowl expansion, concerns and points made last night will figure into the state's decision as to whether expansion should be allowed. About 656 acres of land would be developed for more and improved ski experiences on this side of the mountain. But not all are convinced that expansion should be allowed. Longtime resident and veterinarian Dr. Jolion Johnson questions the venture of an expanded ski area.
In case nobody noticed, the ski industry is a dying industry. The skier visits, I thought last winter should have been a banner winter for the mountain. It was cold early and stayed consistently cold. They might say too cold, but for those of us that remember when it was 25 and 30 below, a few days at 15 below don't seem so bad. But it should have been a banner ski year. And I don't think they did any more than their average skier visits over the last few years. And it's become a very expensive sport.
Yet businessman Frank McConnell of Newport says this is the right economic move for the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region.
We have an opportunity to make a real improvement to the single important tourism attraction in the Sunapee region. I urge our state leaders to approve this plan.
As does Sunapee resident Hess Gates. Keeping up with ski industry competitors is crucial to a viable economy in west central New Hampshire.
However, we also hear from our guests about expansion in other New Hampshire areas such as Ragged, Pat's Peak, Loon, and even Cannon. This plan before us will keep Sunapee competitive in both winter and summer and avoid being leapfrogged.
Still, other people at last night's meeting remain unconvinced of adding new ski lifts and amenities to the Mount Sunapee Resort. Vice President of the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests, Will Abbott, is one such person.
The state cannot use public land to create exclusive rights or benefits to a privileged few that other citizens of the state do not have access to. Public lands are for the public benefit, not for the benefit of private residential real estate development.
YCN News will broadcast a 30-minute special program examining the issues related to a possible expansion by Mount Sunapee. This Monday, Labor Day, this program will be broadcast during our regular news programs. Tune in right here on Channel 20 or 712 in HD at 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. You can also watch the special on channels 21 and 713 at 5:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. A car accident today in Westminster, Vermont resulted in some damage to the side of a 2013 box truck, but no damage to the bridge the truck hit. Around 10:19 a.m. along I-91 South in Westminster, the truck driven by 26-year-old Joshua Howe of West Lebanon struck a curb on a bridge, say Vermont State Police. Howe was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. It will be an extended summer vacation for students who attend the Unity Elementary School. Yesterday night, the Unity School Board voted to delay the new building's opening. The first day of school for the kindergarten through grade 8 students will be Monday, September 8th. SAU 6 Superintendent Dr. Middleton McGoodwin told YCN News in an email today that the board's decision was based on ensuring that the school is completely ready for the students and staff. The two-story building had been scheduled to open on September 2nd. However, the challenge of emptying a school, storing everything, and then returning same to a new school has been a great deal of work, notes McGoodwin. Work has been done nearly around the clock to get the school ready. The board felt it was better to have the school be in top shape rather than continue cleaning and setting up rooms next Tuesday. The time spent preparing for the new, later start will be worth the wait. McGoodwin says everyone will be pleased when school begins on September 8th. In local Vermont election news, it was an unfortunate result for supporters of the century-old Wethersfield Proctor Library. Even with a trimmed-down request from residents, this time for a bit over $1 million compared to last March's $1.3 million, the request fell short. The tally at the end of the night was $399 against funding library upgrades compared to $257 in favor. The Eagle Times reports, fear of higher taxes may have influenced the negative vote. Library Board of Trustees say they will ask voters again for financial support to expand the library. In other local elections, voters in Bellows Falls and Cavendish supported spending requests. The $7 million bond approved yesterday after all ballots were counted in Bellows Falls will upgrade the village's wastewater system. And in Cavendish, the sun will shine brightly on the town now that voters approved spending up to $450,000 to construct a solar energy facility on town-owned land, the Eagle Times reports. Unlike in Wethersfield, where taxes would need to rise to pay for a library bond, in Cavendish, Town Energy Committee Chairman Peter LaBelle says the bond will pay for itself in energy savings. Taxes will not need to go up. When we return, we'll have your weather for the next few days and a look at sports with Matt McDonald.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now, Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have patchy fog after 1 a.m. with partly cloudy skies and lows around 59 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon we'll have mostly sunny skies with highs in the 70s and winds up to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night we'll have lows in the upper 40s with calm winds and mostly clear skies. Friday will be sunny with a high of 75 degrees and calm winds. Friday night we'll have lows in the mid-50s with partly cloudy skies. As you can see here, we are in the clear for the next couple of days with possible storms starting Saturday. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow afternoon, the Claremont, New Hampshire Farmers Market will take place at 4 p.m. In Lebanon, New Hampshire, the end of summer celebration will begin at 4 p.m. in Colburn Park. In Walpole, the Select Board will meet at 6 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats won yesterday in an exciting game with Harrisburg. The Fisher Cats triumphed in a 6-4 win. A notable play from the night involved Brad Glenn's homer, which also sent Kevin Nolan to home plate. Another highlight was a second homer by Brad Glenn at the bottom of the 8th, which finished out the game. Tonight and Thursday will be the remaining games in the series with Harrisburg.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor, who met with Gary Lambert, candidate for U.S. Congress in New Hampshire's 2nd District.
The YCN News continues in a moment.